Okay, so the time has come. I'm gonna try and get the engine onto the trolley. I made this trolley in the last video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Don't want to miss it. But yeah, I've got all the parts, I've got all the tools, I've got everything. I think that should do it. The only one thing which I'm worried about is if the holes in the trolley don't match the engine, because I never measured sideways, but we'll try work that out just now. So here we've got the trolley. We've got all of the big parts, we've got all the little parts, we've got all the tools. We've got some more parts and tools over here. And we're going to try to get this onto here. And hopefully these holes line up with those holes. Don't know if they do, but I'm crossing my fingers. Yeah, so all of the bolts are through. I call one of them the top part, because it's a coach bolt and it's got a square bit at the top. The square bit hasn't gone in, but hopefully as I tighten all of them up, it will pop in. Year in the making. There's the first piece on the trolley. I'm gonna go get the hoover up all the bits of sawdust, and then we'll get into start putting everything back together. I don't quite know the order of putting everything back together, but I just think we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best. Okay, so because I've now got it on the trolley, I can basically just work through putting all back together. As I said just before, I don't quite know how to put it all, well, no, what order to put it back together in. So I'm probably going to governor, flywheel, top, cylinder head. Governor, flywheel, cylinder head. And that's probably going to be the order I put it back all in. So let's start off with the governor then, I guess. Okay, so upon further investigation, the paint is just flaking off the bolts. So when I go back in a month or two, I'm just gonna have to repaint them all, but that's just the way it has to be, I guess. With the governor finally on, with the gearing bit finally on, I'm gonna put the governor in. I think this is the governor part, over there. When painting, I had a major issue with this, that it got totally seized when I was painting it, and this bit here wouldn't twist at all. But yesterday I got the bottom bit there in the vise, and I twisted the top bit, and it thankfully popped out. Well, yeah. So, I was meant to record all this, but I didn't. So this bolt here for the Magneto, you need to put this in before assembly. So I've had major problems putting this bit on, because this bit here, this nut was just far too close. So in the end, you can see it's just nearly perfect. And I just hit it on with the mallet, and you can see there's paints, but when I come back and touch it up, I'll paint over all that and that bit there which hasn't been painted. But yeah, it's on now, and I've got the bolt in, and I've got all four nuts just about to put them on. Painting here I'm just going to leave because they'll get worn away. Now I'm going to get the front of governor put on and the governor arm going across here. Should be pretty straightforward, apart from I'm going to have to sand down the edges of the governor arm, because I painted over them and they aren't meant to be painted over. Okay, so the governor rod is now, assembly is now put on. I got this screw in the end put on, and it's working at a alright. The bit that comes out the governor here is hitting this ball joint, ball bit just there, just where I think it's meant to. It's sticking a little bit up here, but I think that's just due to the paint. This is the spring which I was talking about a few videos ago. and I might need to replace it. I might not need to replace it, but I'll just see if I get it running, and then we'll work from there. I'm now gonna flip around. Well, no, I'm gonna flip around, and I will do the crankshaft. So here's the piston. It's been sitting in the bath of paraffin. I don't know if that was a good idea, but it's nice and clean. I had to replace the top ring here, and I also replaced the oil one because the oil one that was on it didn't look quite right. But it looks fine. I think this bearing might have needed to be replaced, but I'm not going to do it now. If it did need replaced, let me know. I might get around to doing it. I've also got the tool to get it in, so I'll give that a shot. Okay, so we just had friend round and we've got the piston moving again. My dad's out helping me, so I'm probably not going to record that much, but I've tightened down the crankshaft. I'm probably going to do the governor again now. I'm going to get the governor back on because I had to take it off to get the piston out. But I've got the governor, I'm going to put that back on, then I'll just work my way up. I also need to get the flywheel and everything on. I'll record everything. I just won't be talking in it probably. But the guy said that the piston's got a really nice fit to it. So that's good, and probably will be done by the end of this video, which is good. Okay, I've lost my help from my dad because he's had to go out, but we've got it assembled without any more issues. Well, a little bit more assembled. Flywheel is proving an issue to be on because this isn't the original flywheel that came off of this crankshaft, but I just didn't link that it probably wouldn't fit on as well. So we've been making sure to get all the paint that's been out the bore here and trying to get this bit as smooth as possible in there. And we've also got some oil on here, and I've cleaned up this edge in case there's any like lifts. Apart from that, the plates have gone back on. They look really good after I cleaned them. Go check out that YouTube shorts. The stuff worked really well. The governor's on. I'm going to get the new drain plug installed just now because I can't lift this by myself. So I'm going to just I'm going to do a drain plug Magneto and probably all that. So yeah, I've got the new drain plug here, and I'm going to be putting some of this plumber's tape on it, which someone in the comments thankfully told me about, instead of getting a washer to go in there. But yeah, I got this plug off of eBay. It was about £17, I think, but I needed one, so let's give this a shot. So I'm just going to do the same steps for the water tap. Alright, so I'm getting there. So I've got the whole of the front on, I've got the water tap. But now I'm going to work on getting the valves done for the head, cylinder head. and I'll just get the rest of the cylinder head completed. Okay, I just took a little minute to read through this book here, the Overhauling Mr. D book, and that's given me a much better idea on just doing the rest of it. I should have really read it before I started this today, but now I know about like setting the timing, making sure the carburetors all worked. But that's really good. So yeah, back to this bit here. There's two valves. There's an inlet valve and an outlet valve. They are different, so make sure you put in the right ones. So it should say on them what it is. So here on mine, you might be able to see it says D155 in. So this is the inlet valve, because checking this book here, the D155 is the in, and the D255 is the exhaust. So I've got a 155 and a 255. There you'll be able to see. Okay, so I've given up trying to use the camera on this little small phone tripod because it's just going to fall over. But I think you can see down in there. And I've got the springs here. I sadly haven't remembered which spring goes on which one. But I'm just going to, I'm going to clean this out first, because it's really, really dirty in there still. And then, yeah. And I'm going to get the head seated on, tightened down. I'm going to get all the rockers and everything done. So it's just the flywheel that I'm waiting on. I've cleaned up the surface below this head gasket, and I've cleaned the bottom of the head here. And I've got the rocker just sitting there. Yeah, so I'll try to do this without getting in the light too much. So I should just be able to lift it up and place it down on top if everything goes correctly. There you go. I've got to get the decals on and everything, but that's quite tight going on. Yeah, no, that looks good. If you have a look at that, you can see I've got a bit of grease sticking out, but overall, that doesn't look too bad. It's a quite tall engine. I don't remember it being this tall, but one thing, I painted the surface here, but I don't think that'll be much of an issue. Yeah, now I'll get the rocker shaft put on. I'll get the carburetor sorted out and all the governor linkages. I can get the exhaust fuel tank put on. I can get everything basically done now. Okay, progressed a little bit. We've got the top on, and we've got the rocker shaft in, and everything's tied down. I only just realised that I forgot to put the protectors on that bit just there. So I'm going to have to take the rocker shaft back off, but that's fine. I'll do that in a second. I'm putting the carburetor together so I can get that all done and all the governor stuff done. Carburetor looks fine. I've taken the jet out, I put the jet back in. I've got the jet lock nut in. I've got the plunger here, but I haven't replaced the spring on it. I was told that I need to replace the spring, but when you actually put it in, the spring is really fine. Like, you can see it. It'll be fine. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. I've got the carburetor assembled with the float chamber. I haven't checked the float chamber just because I don't quite understand it, and it looked in pretty good nick, so I'm just left it as it is. But I'm gonna assemble it now into here. I've got the gasket on, And we'll just give it a shot. It's quite cramped here, so try position you where you can see. So there you can see it all nice and tightly on now. I've left this a little bit loose so I can tighten it up at the bottom here when I get the fuel tank on and the pipe, because the pipe is going to need some adjustment. You can see it's all the bolts are, the paint's coming off all of them, so I'm going to need to go back and do it. But I'm pretty sure carburetor's all done now. The flywheel, still issues with that. Hopefully I'll get that sorted tomorrow. I'm going to try to get the rest of the engine done tonight. But I think I will now put the exhaust on, and then I'll do the fuel tank. So I coated the exhaust in the heat resistant paint. The finish isn't the best. In person it's worse than it looks on camera. This can just be rubbed off. But I've also done bolts and washers for it. So we'll get this on now. Okay, so I can't quite remember where I left off yesterday, but I'm going to carry on with the engine. I've don't want my dad here to help me, but I'm going to wait for him to come back from work to get it running. But I'm going to get the rest put back together just now. I'm going to get the fuel tank on just now then, and I'll link it up to the float chamber, and then I'll do the Magneto, and that will be it. So here is the freshly painted fuel tank. When on both the engines, when I first took it off, I had these two felt spacers that just go there. So I'm going to try to put them back on. Okay, so it wasn't quite reaching, so I've just straightened up the wire a little bit there. And now that's perfect. So I'll tighten everything down up here. So the two bolts to the bottom of this float chamber. And that should be this all set up. Okay, so that's everything tightened down, the thing on. And that should be the fuel tank connected to the float chamber connected to the carburetor. Where I won't give it a run just yet, seeing if it comes through here and out there, because I'll just wait till Dad gets home and we'll do that all together. Now I'm going to do the Magneto. So I've got to get the Magneto, which is just sitting there, and I've got to get the sprocket, which goes on here. I'm not going to put this sprocket on just yet, because for the timing, you need to leave one of them loose, and I'm just going to leave this one off. Actually, no, I'm going to put it on, but I'll leave it loose. And the Magneto is just going to sit up here. If you haven't checked out the video where I rebuilt this Magneto, go check it out. But yeah, I also had to get a couple new bolts for underneath this one, because my bolts got stripped. Putting it on. Alright, so that's the first bolt, at least partly on. Now I'm gonna go under here, and I'm gonna try get these two bolts on under here. I'm gonna try get this one here on first, and we'll just see how it goes from there. So that's Magneto fully tied down. These two bolts I put the washer on, but because I had to put this bolt on before, I forgot to put the washer on it. And that's as much as it will tighten down, and there's still a little gap. Okay, so I just removed these 4 nuts, and then I tried to take off, and I remembered how much of a pain getting this nut to sit flush was, so I'm just going to leave it on. I'm sure it's sturdy enough, the Magneto, so I don't think that other bolt is needed. Well, not needed, but yeah, so I'll just get these all tightened back up, and then we will get the sprocket put on, and we'll try to get the chain loosened up, and we'll also get the wire going from here up to the spark plug, because I never did that because I didn't know what length it would have to be. So here's the sprocket with the bolt and the washer. It did prove quite strong to get off, so I'm sure, well, it might be a pain to get back on. Yeah. But we'll give it a shot. It looks like it goes on that way. And I've got the washer to go on, and I'll clean this up and put some anti-seize on that, and then I'll place the bolt nut on. So I tightened this down a bit too much, and now it won't spin freely, not with the crankshaft. So I need to go get the pullers, and I'm going to pull this off again just so because I need this for the timing. Alright, there we go, that wasn't too difficult. Now that's spinning freely, and it's easy to tighten up. The chain has been sitting in a bucket of oil because it's still quite, not rusted, but seized from, well, it is rusted, from when I took it off the other engine. So I'm going to try to loosen this up just now, then I'll get it placed on, then after that I'll do the wire. So half an hour later, the chain is all freed up. It was such a pain getting all the seized bits undone, but I should have probably just got a new one. But if it doesn't run very well, I can always get one later on. Okay, so I've got my Champion spark plug here, and after looking at some Lister.D forum posts, the gap should be 0.025 inches. 0.025 inches. So I'm going to double check this spark plug just now, and then I will get it all wired up and see if I get a spark out of the new Magneto. Okay, so I got the lid off now, and you can see this little screw here again. You just have to unscrew that to look through this hole up here, and you'll be able to see that there's no longer the sharp needle pointing in it. Now I'm going to get the end of my cord, and I'm going to place it in the hole, and then you'll put the screw back in, and you'll screw it down, and that will get wedged. The needle will go into the copper in the middle of your cable. So I'll just get it screwed in now. So I've just placed the Magneto back on with the top, and I've done it so that fits perfectly onto where spark plug, it'll be sitting on the spark plug, and I've just removed the end like centimeter, and that fits nice and snugly onto the terminal. So I'll get the Magneto fitted back down, and I will test the spark plug on the body of the Magneto now. Okay, so I've got the Magneto all set down now. I've got the metal shims in place to get the tension on the wire, and I'm just about to test out to see if it works. So you can see there that there's a spark, which is really good. That's like all my worries about it not being able to spark away now. So I'm gonna get the this put into the hole, the place for it, and then what else is left to do? I need to attach then I'll do the timing. Actually no, I'll do the timing before I put this in place. I'll do the timing just now, because this is loose and it's not turning that, and I've also got to attach the gear. Okay, so that's all timed up. So basically what you do is you loosen, I loosen the top one, or you could loosen the top one. You loosen the sprocket, then you move the flywheel to where you see the little ignition mark, right there. You can see it just there. So this is the top dead center, and then that's the ignition mark just there. And then right as the ignition mark is there, the contacts have to just pop. So they open right on the ignition mark. And that's pretty simple. I had to do it a couple times to try get it as dead on as possible. But it's working perfectly now. Now I can get the chain guard on. And I've got the bolt for the chain guard that goes through there. And one for it down here. So I'll just get that on. Okay, that's another step closer to it being finished. I got the chain guard fitted down. I couldn't find the bolt I had for this, so I've just taken another bolt and it fits perfectly fine. But both these will have to be painted when I come back to it. That looks really good there. I couldn't find one of the brass ones that go on the end here, so I'm just using the one that came with it. And I've got to crimp the cable here, but I'm waiting for my dad to do that. So I guess, what left do I have to do? I think just the top, really. So I've got the gasket here, and we'll get the top put on, and that will be basically the engine finished. Okay, so there, that's the key in, as far as it will go. I don't think it's as far in as it was before, but we're gonna take it out in a month or so, so I don't want to get it like totally stuck in. And it's in far enough that it's tight. I've hit it in, and it's not going to come out anytime soon. So that's fine. And that's it done. You know what? From far away, it doesn't actually look that bad. Up close, it's a bit touch and go here and there. But it's finished. I'm going to get workshop cleaned up for first running, because it'll probably be too dark to do outside. But we won't be running it for very long, I expect. But here you go. So there you go. That's it. All finally finished. Like I said, I'm going to come back and touch up everything in a couple weeks. But it's actually looking really good from far away. Apart from the flywheel, but I know we'll sort that out. But yeah, all the brass has come out really good from getting it cleaned up. The gas bits here and there haven't been painted because I didn't realize, but and the bolts are flaking off, but I think it's gonna go well. There's a good spark coming out of it, and everything down here seems to be working properly. So I guess we'll get fuel in it and we'll see how it goes. So the whole of the inside's been oiled, and we got oil up in the sump. We filled up the area in there in the timing case through the hole. And you can see here that the oil is right up there. So we're about to give it a shot, starting it.
Hello, what's that a year ago?
Okay, so I'm just editing the video now, and I realised I never put an outro into it for the second time. So the engine was running. I went out a couple of days later and it's no longer running. But there's a couple things that aren't perfect with it, and that I'll be coming back to when I come back to it. I need washers for the float chamber connecting to the carburetor because it's leaking lots of fuel out of there. There is a water leak around the head gasket, so I might tighten that down more because I don't know if it's tight enough. And the fuel mixture adjuster on the carburetor, I don't think it's working because I turned it all the way around to the stop position and then the engine just carried on running for like a minute, and in the end I had to pull out the Magneto wire to the spark plug. So I'm going to have to look into that and see what's happening there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you got this far through, please consider liking, and if this is your first video that you've seen on my channel, go watch the rest of the episodes of getting it to this stage, and do keep your eyes out for the update for this. I might be having a break for a little while because I've got exams with school, so I might not be uploading for 2 weeks. But yeah, on that note, do keep your eyes out. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.